A sea of people in Pyongyang's main square marks the end of 2 days of commemorations. A military parade was part of the national memorial service to honour the late leader Kim Jong-il. For the first time, his son, Kim Jong-un, was directly referred to as the new supreme leader of the ruling party, the military and the people. The head of the Supreme People's Assembly praised the late Kim for contributing to, quote, global peace and stability of the 21st century. He told mourners Kim Jong-un had inherited his father's ideology, character and revolutionary cause.
Our great comrade Kim Jong-il has solved the leadership succession matter perfectly, which is the most precious accomplishment for our country's destiny and endless prosperity of our descendants.
The young leader looked on from a balcony, top party and military officials at his side. The focus may have been on the late leader, but North Korea has many problems. It suffers severe food and power shortages and a crumbling economy. Its nuclear program has seen it isolated from the international community. 3 minutes of silence to remember the late Kim's time as leader. But with the ceremonies over, the job ahead for Kim Jong-un is no less than daunting. Tarek, Bazley, Al Jazeera.
Well, Harry Fawcett's been following the event from the South Korean capital, Seoul. Harry, what's the significance of the Supreme Leader title?
Well, I think it's twofold. Firstly, the significance in who was saying it. We've heard the title already referred to earlier this week in the North Korean state media. But this is the first time that one of the key leadership figures, Kim Jong-un, the ceremonial head of state of North Korea, actually used those words in a live address to his nation. He said that Kim Jong-un was the supreme leader and that he had inherited the ideology, courage and fortitude of the dear leader Kim Jong-il. The other piece of significance is the wording itself. Supreme leader is somewhat different from one of Kim Jong-il's titles, Supreme Commander. It took Kim Jong-il some time, some 3 years, to adopt all of his official titles after the death of his father, Kim Il-sung. It's been much faster in the case of Kim Jong-un, potentially because he's had less time to prepare, he has less of a power base. What Kim Jong-il did was not adopt some of his father's titles, such as president. Kim Il-sung is still the eternal president of North Korea, despite having been dead for the last 17 years. So there are two outstanding titles of Kim Jong-il's which have yet to be filled: General Secretary of the party and the chairman of the very powerful National Defense Commission, which really leads the military. So people will be watching to see whether Kim Jong-un actually assumes those titles as well, or whether this supreme leader of the party, the people and the army is enough really to suggest that he's in charge of everything.
And as you mentioned, the world is, of course, watching very closely. What's been the reaction from the other countries that actively take an interest in North Korean affairs?
Well, ever since the death of Kim Jong-il, there's been a huge amount of diplomacy, a lot of bilateral meetings between the key players, China, the United States, Japan, South Korea, and to a lesser extent, Russia. I mean, the latest of those is happening in Washington. The six-party negotiator for South Korea, Lim Sung-nam, is there right now. He has said that both sides have agreed, US and South Korea, that there should be an early resumption of six-party talks as conditions allow. The United States saying that they were waiting for a signal from North Korea to see whether those talks could start again. The key player really in terms of trying to get all this together is China. There are some reports that China is preparing a new package of aid to North Korea, that there might even be a visit from a senior Chinese foreign official to North Korea in the next month. There are two possible roadblocks, though. The first here in South Korea is that they want some form of acknowledgement, or at least they have wanted some form of acknowledgement from North Korea for two attacks in which 50 people died last year. The sinking of the Cheonan, which they blame on North Korea, and North Korea's artillery shelling of an island off the west coast of the Korean peninsula. Will they drop that request to allow Kim Jong-un not to lose face?
Excuse me, that's Harry Fawcett updating us from Seoul.